So long. Hey.
Listen, put your hands together, put your hands together, put your hands together. It is the Connected Corner, and we are back for an amazing new
Hey.
season. And maybe you haven't clapped for yourself today, but we're going to clap for ourselves. Come on, Kiana.
Hey,
Put your
hey, hey,
hands
hey.
together, put your hands together, put your hands together.
What's
Yes.
the church clap? Be like,
Lord have mercy. She always, so somebody who can't sing, shout, clap on beat, you always want to throw yourself out there. Listen, guys, it's the Connected Corner, and we are so excited to be back with you for another amazing season. Happy spring 2022. I know it may not feel like it depending on where you are. I have my shoulders out because I am currently sitting in a very warm subtropic tropic environment, not to rub it in because it was 46 back home yesterday.
right.
But nonetheless, guys, this is our spring 2022 season. I'm your girl, Tori Rose, the Connector, and I'm just so excited to be here with my favorite co-host,
Kiana B.
Hey,
Hey.
girl. Hi, B. How have you been?
I've been good. It was so funny getting back to like, we're live again. But we're happy to definitely be here. It's been a good time. I'm excited for this season and just to talk about self-care and just all the things. And so, we're stepping it up, trying to bring the people what they need. We bring you news and resources, but we want to make sure that it's like relevant for what's happening now too.
Most certainly. And if not anything else, this season is going to be relevant. It's going to be engaging. So let us know where you're watching it. If you're tuning in live, drop live in the comment. If you are watching us on the replay, we want to hear from you. If you have yet to subscribe to the YouTube channel, what are you waiting for? Go ahead over to YouTube and make sure you type in the Connected Corner. It's all phonetic. Not only are you helping us grow our network and strengthen our numbers, but you're also getting yourself connected to news and resources you can use. And guess what? I drop a lot of Snapple facts that will make you the highlight of the white parties this summer. Okay, so feel free to share the information that you hear here on the Connected Corner. We have an amazing season. We are talking about self-care. It is not selfish. It's a form of healthcare, if you ask me. So I know, Kiana, you went to Mexico. Do you want to share a little bit about your Mexico experience on your own self-care journey?
Yes, that was the ultimate self-care. The funny part, I've been kind of like talking about it with a couple of coworkers this week as we, are kind of going through. That was one of the things, just like work and life, and it was tax season. And I know my clients probably thought I was crazy. I don't do as many people as I used to, but it was the first time in 20 plus years that I've taken a vacation
Wow.
in March.
On season.
But it was so necessary. And so I sent my little notices and things out and was like, hey, if y'all want me to finish the season, I'm gonna come back a better person, a better consultant, a better service provider. But I, for the first time, we stayed in the jungle for 2.5 days. We slept overnight twice there. And I guess people call it Western medicine. We did Bufu and Kambu, and I be wanting to say ashwagandha, but that's the ashwagandha is the vitamin.
Right.
We did ashwagandha, whatever it's called. But we had just releasing sweat lodge for 2 hours, just kind of releasing. And I mean, it was just a phenomenal experience. First time ever like being with a shaman and meditating and doing all that stuff. But yeah, one of my coworkers, he was like, your energy, like, I'm so jealous. Like, he was like, we know this stuff is still happening, but you do sound better. Your energy sounds good, regardless of what's going on. I'm like, yeah, it helps. And, being back in therapy, it all helps.
Yeah, it does. And it's not a one size fit all answer.
Yeah.
People got to find what works for them. So if you're like shamas and jungles in Mexico, I'm not doing any of that. That's fine. It doesn't work for you. But maybe you should try it, especially if what you are doing isn't working. You might want to try something new, right? But I think that is the thing. And tonight we're going to talk to an amazing, dynamic woman who's going to help us just fully understand how self-care, hair care, and all of those things intersect with one another. But I think it's important to understand you got to find what works for you. Absolutely. What works for me may not work for Kiana. What works for Kiana may not work for the next person, and vice versa. When we're talking about am I my hair or not, just to be honest, the guest tonight is my hairstylist. She's not my every week hairstylist because I be on the road. But when I'm home, she's my hairstylist. So I had to make sure these edges was laid. I said, God.
Look, you see, I did the same thing. I had like little lady mine there. Like she's done the whole connector corner, right? Like
Right,
that's all of it.
right.
Yeah.
She's
So
your hairstylist. She's Braxton's hairstylist. Listen, she was not going to get on here and say, okay, wait, but pause, flag on the plaque. So hopefully we meet her approval. And before we introduce her, I want to just give you guys some of these statistics, right? I was doing a lot of looking into Black Americans, right? Or Black people, however you want to label yourself, if you want to even label yourself, on our personal care and marketing. So we understand that words like self-care and balance and toxicity and it's toxic and energy, sometimes those things get caught up in this fad, this trend world, but people just throwing those words around. But Black Americans spend 18% of their income each year on hair and beauty products. At least 18%. That's the bare minimum. That was the bottom number. At least 18%. So ask yourself, how much do I spend getting my hair done, getting my barber shops? Include your children if you have children. How about this one? $37.1 billion is the estimated amount spent in this year in the Black hair care industry category. I'm sorry, and that was for 2021. So that was last year because we're only in May of this year.
right, exactly.
$37.1 billion. Billion dollars. And how about this one? Black hair and beauty aids, so extensions, jam gel, conditioner, is the most purchased non-food commodity amongst Black Americans. So of all of the things that we buy for our hair, male, female, non-binary, transgender, cisgender. I like all the genders, however you identify as. I identify as a threat, so don't play with me, right? Whatever you identify as, you are purchasing more and spending more time on your hair than probably anything else, non-food commodity. All right, so just y'all ponder on that. If you've already heard those stats, you know your own stats, drop them in the chat. We want to hear from you. This is going to be an interactive. We want to hear from you. So without further ado, I think we're ready. Oh, can we say hello to our producer and mentor, and then I want to bring on the guest.
Yes. So we want to shout out Mr. Diamond K over at the Diamond K Show and Radio on Fire TV. Make sure you guys subscribe to their YouTube channel as well, and you can catch the Connected Corner also on Radio on Fire TV on their YouTube as well as their social media. So shout out to our mentor and media partner, Mr. Diamond K.
Hey, Diamond K, whose hair is always impeccably held together. I don't know what he must have a barber who live in his house, but anyway. And I will also shout this current guest out because we read a lot of people's bios, and sometimes when we know the people, we be like, that was some creative writing. For this guest that I'm about to introduce, I detect zero lies, all facts. You understand? So y'all can Google her. You can look her up. Okay. So anywho, Miss Lakia Diggs is our amazing guest for tonight. She is a highly skilled, extensively trained master cosmetologist with over 20 years of experience behind the chair. That means you're going to put some what on her name? Some respect on her name. Her work has been featured in New York's Fashion Week, Baltimore Fashion Week, for brands like Vogue and Vogue Italia, and for brands like Romeo Hunt and Roberto Cavalli, Oscar de la Renta, excuse me, y'all can tell I'm still getting my high-end languages up, okay? And Jeremy Scott, to just name a few. That's just a small few. Lakia works continuously to perfect her craft through continuing education coursework. She's always discovering new ways to empower women through hair care products and services. And with an inside-out approach to healthy hair, she is a certified Pravana colorist and aspiring to complete her certification in trichology. My goodness, making her a specialist in the health and treatment of hair and scalp conditions, especially right now, guys. Y'all heard the slap around the world with Will and Jada Smith and the Chris Rock issue, and alopecia being something that a lot of Black women are dealing with. We need this. And so, look, I could go on for 20 more minutes. She is well deserving, but let's put our virtual hands together and bring forth Miss Lakia Diggs and the Care Experience. Woo!
Hey,
Hello, how are you?
we're great.
It's so good to see you. You're amazing. How have you been?
I'm good. I'm better than most, but I'm okay. I'm blessed.
You are blessed. And listen, the owner of the Care Experience, when I used to see that before I knew you, I would always wonder, like, is it really an experience? Like, I'm one of those analytical people. Is it really an experience? And I will say it is really an experience. So welcome to the Connected Corner. We are just so honored to have you here. And so we're going to jump right in. Can you tell us 3 things a person should never ask a Black woman about her hair?
Number 1, is it hers? Number 2, can I touch it?
Baby, never.
And number 3, is she natural or relaxed?
Listen, did you see my notes? These are my notes. I have that. Is it mine? Yes, because I paid for it. Is it mine? Yes, because I grew it. Is it yours? Yep. It was short yesterday. Yep. It's long today. Yep. It's over there on a chair. It's all mine. It's all mine. So thank you for that. Those 3 steps. Why do you think there's such a fascination with people wanting to touch Black women's hair?
I think it depends on who that group is, to be frank. And I think that when you're dealing with your counterparts, it's not asked first before reaching. So it's invasive a lot of times. And, I don't know how deep I can go into talking about culture here.
You can go as deep as the Pacific Ocean. You can be Frank. You can be Lakia. You can be whatever you want to be.
Okay.
Bring it to the people. Bring it to the people.
Okay. So, there has not been a respect of our boundaries because we weren't even looked at as whole people. So people tend to do things and say things to us with no regard of respect because there was none given to us, especially us being women and Black. We had the least amount of respect. Our boundaries are invisible. We don't have them according to a lot of people. So there isn't a pre-thought of, maybe she may feel a way. Let me ask first. Let me see where the boundary is. It's more so of this, let me, you know what I mean? And it's like, I want my boundaries to be respected as anyone else. You know what I mean? So, and my hair is part of my body. It is a part of my body. So it's just as you reaching out and hugging me, touching my butt, grabbing my arm. It's the same. It's close to my face. So yes, I want to be a little resistant when you reach without asking, no matter who you are or what you're reaching for. Just me being who I am. I am going to, do that. So so ask me, is it okay? Because it is a part of my body. And people tend to think that response is, defensive or rude or loud Black woman, kind of thing. And it's like, no, I should be able to say these things and say it safely with a smile and with the period at the end. So
and you not be offended that I said no, thank you.
You should not about you reaching out to my body, which is my personal space. I should not have to worry about how you're going to react to you wanting to touch my body.
That's right. So listen, we got tons of questions for you. Before I pass it to Kiana, did we do good? Are you proud of us?
Yes, yes, you did.
Look, because I've been over here, honey.
We was working on edges, trying to figure out. Don't sweat all day, okay?
I know it's the pressure people feel. It's like when you go to something and like your makeup artist or stylist and people gonna be there, you be like, oh my gosh, like what is happening? I gotta make sure, like this is together over here because we already know. But yeah, I think like just, before going into the next question, some of that what people don't realize, and I think for me that transition, well, I mean, it's not even a transition now. I've been not relaxed since 2002, but like reading up before I even started like the lock journey and, cutting it off and coming back to it, your hair holds like everything. Memories. It's really one of the most important things, that's a part of your body where you can really get a sense of like your DNA. You can do drug tests from people. Like it's so important. And so you touching my hair, you really putting I don't know what kind of energy and stuff you had. So when you touch my hair, you're putting that on me. Like, don't touch it, because it's going to hold
absolutely.
that. And so I think people don't think about how much, and what hair does, for us, right? It's that mane on us, and it's so important. It's adorned and all of these things. So talking about that, women are known to like, hey, when your lady cuts your hair, or she do this, or women do that, you could tell like how they feeling based on their hair. So when a woman, in your opinion, cuts her hair, what is she ready to do?
I mean, of course, change her life. It's always a thing. It's always a thing where when you're doing that, it's a reason. And it's changing her life. And it may not always be, yes, I'm ready to be the sassy girl and get my life and, all of that, which is amazing. But because I deal with hair loss, a lot of times that life change can be, I got to start over. I got to take care of myself from the inside out so I can restore healthy hair from the beginning. So it can look so different depending on the circumstance. At the end of the day, it's life changing, whether it's positive, whether it's sad, whether it's grief. Because some people are really starting over from certain places. It could be spiritual. It could be so much, and it's a life change. So yes, she's definitely going to change her life one way or another.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, them first set, I had to cut them because yeah, it was like history, and I was having dreams and about things, and I was like, hey, if I want this relationship to work, I think I might have to cut these off. And my lactician I was going to then, and she was like, yeah, gave me this book. I read it, and literally after I cut that set of locks off, the dream stopped.
It happens. It does
And I was
happen.
like, oh my goodness, because all of that history, that was 9 years, that I had them. And so cutting them off, it was that new beginning and this new, phase. And so I started them again in a new phase, So yeah, definitely.
Most certainly. So guys, if you are just tuning in, we are in the Connected Corner live with the amazing Lakia Diggs, the Kia experience. And she's an experience. Her styles are an experience. The salon is an experience. And I'm not being paid to say these things. I'm saying them because she is Corey Rose stamped and approved. And so if you are watching us, make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel. Go over to YouTube, type in the Connected Corner, hit that like and subscribe button, ring the bell so you can be notified when we go live. And so, Kia, listen, I have had some arguments this week. I didn't laugh or rejoice that Kevin Samuels passed away. I would never rejoice in someone's passing. But some of the I'm laughing now. I'm just laughing because I feel some kind of way. But some of the conversations that I have had, right? Sips tea, looks away, and laughs, right? Some of the conversations that have come out since he's passed have really had us thinking about this weaves and wigs and, men who prefer natural hair, men who don't mind a weave or wig, and whatever your preference is, guys, listen, whatever floats your goat makes us happy. But do you think that wigs and weaves add to or change a woman's true identity? Like, am I still the same Tori if I got 28 inches versus my own do? Give us a little insight about what you think, how identity and extensions have intersections, if they do.
Yeah. So I think that, identity and identifying is the key words. So I made a post on Facebook recently about when I wear my own hair and the reactions that I get. And people, they see me because I go from weaves to braids to wearing my own hair. I wear my own hair less. because I'm busy and it's natural, it's big, I don't have time. So when people see my real hair, they tell me things like, oh my goodness, I don't even understand why you wear weaves when you have all that hair. And I said, who's like, why would you assume that I wear my weave because I don't like my own hair? And if I want to wear a weave, it's because I feel like a bad bee wearing a weave. And when I want to wear my own hair, guess what? I feel like a bad bee wearing my own hair. And I feel like you become a different part of you when you wear your hair different ways. Like if your hair is not done, you may feel mundane or average, but then when your hair is freshly done, my edges is laid and my hair's on point, it's shiny, I'm getting compliments. It do something for you because your hair is so much a part of you that it may do something for you. But I don't think you change who you are. You just tap into a different part of something that already exists inside of you. When I wear weaves down to my butt, I feel like you can't tell me nothing anyway. But when I had my hair all the way down, and I'm feeling, I'm feeling like a, I don't know, it's just something that wakes up inside of me. That's like, I walk with a different walk. You know what I mean? It's something that comes, it's a different part. It's like how some people have a Sasha Fierce and a Beyonce. It's something inside of you that emotes when you are dressed up or you look a different way than you're normal. So it doesn't change who you are. It's just a segment inside of you that's enlightened or awakened in you. But no, and I think it all depends too, because you have some people who may do things because they are ashamed of their natural or their original, but that doesn't speak for every woman. That's
Right.
That's not everyone's testimony. So you can't box every woman who gets a relaxer. Oh, she's ashamed of her black self, so she's wanting to straighten her hair. That's not always the case. She could be very proud of being black. She may find it easier to take care of herself and her hair when it's not as kinky. She may not have the time that it takes for her to care and manage that hair because of her lifestyle, and she's doing what's conducive. So it has nothing to do with her being ashamed, not liking herself. She's doing what she can, and let her do what she can, because sometimes that's all we can is all we can do is the best we can for the time, and whatever we have to do, if it's not harming nobody else, it shouldn't matter.
You're exactly right. So my brain always is on I have TikTok and reels that live in my brain. So as you were saying that with your hair down to your butt, I feel Puerto Rican in this hair.
Yes, exactly.
Rican. That's all. So all day, I have ADHD. You know me. You are my sister girl, and I love you. And you have been here for me through some of my darkest moments. You know my brain. So as you were talking, I was like, Rican. I feel Puerto Rican with this hair. And it's okay. And I love your answer. So thank you for that.
You are hilarious. I was just thinking when she said it, well, when she finished my hair, when I get the mirror, I'd be like, oh, girl, you are cute. I remember first he was like, I'm talking to myself, like, girl, I don't know who you are. Oh, she showed up. She was cute. Like, that's my thing after, because normally, but like I said, be a while sometimes, and it is scheduled or whatever. And I'm like, when I don't have, I'm just feeling some kind of way. So I definitely relate to that, because I get excited when I look at her in the mirror, and it's like, oh, girl, look at you. You're cute. So, yeah, I can definitely attest to that. So speaking of like going, I don't know about everybody else, but I know like even sometimes there's a difference between like when I had locks or not had locks, but the shampoo bowl, like literally I could just like times, like I just want to go get my hair done professionally so I could just lay in the shampoo bowl. And sometimes it's like, okay, let me lay here. I don't want to be making no noises and stuff. But a couple of times, it'd be like, oh my God, I feel so good. People like, what is happening back there? What is the magic happening at the shampoo bowl? And what is it that feels so good about getting your hair shampooed professionally?
For me, that's the intimate part. I mean, it's all intimate. Getting your hair done is all intimate, whether you at the bowl and it's feeling good and it's giving that spa effect that you don't get in the chair. And then some people feel like that chair and having the interpersonal conversations is therapy. So I think it just depends on what what nurtures you, which segment of that gives you the most feel good or whatever. And that's probably the most, as far as like massaging and rubbing and relaxation, that's probably um the most relaxing part of it. Some people don't put a lot of efforts into making that the spa experience. And I think that that's kind of that's something that got to be restored, because everyone does deserve to have that. And it's important in hair care too, because you have to stimulate the scalp, so healthy hair can grow from it. So hair growth start from the bowl. That's my motto. It starts from the bowl. So if you're not cleaning it right, you're not clarifying, you're not moisturizing, you're not massaging, you're not awakening the follicles and stimulating blood flow, you're not doing the full job. That's really important. The bonus, the icing on the cake, is that it feels good. That's the bonus.
Well, back up for a second. You said stimulating the blood flow. This is all about self-care over the next 8 weeks. I don't think anybody even realizes that's what's happening. Can you explain that a little bit to us? What do you mean stimulating the blood flow in your head?
Yeah. Yeah. So, our skin, our scalp, everything has, nerves, it has veins, it has vessels, it has all those things. And a lot of times, for instance, if you're working out a muscle, you're you're sending a signal to your muscle to blood flow to go there so it can do what it needs to do. When you take a laxative like castor oil, for instance, and you drink it, that's a stimulant. So blood flow is going to your stomach from different parts of your body so it can do the job, so you can relieve yourself. So it's the same thing with your scalp. You're massaging it, you're waking up, like it's something, it's like waking up your follicles and waking up all the activity that needs to happen so your hair can grow. A lot of times people don't have growth in their hair because they're not doing enough scalp, like the massages and touching, just giving it something. People get stuff done and never touch their hair, and wondering why they have stunted growth. So you have to get that blood flowing so the follicles can do what it's supposed to do. It's gonna work regardless, unless you have something autoimmune that's gonna completely kill it. But if you don't have nothing going on and you're massaging it, you're stimulating, you getting it going, okay, it's telling your scalp, let's work, let's do stuff. It's activity here. Let's work. Let's get it together. And that's basically what it is. It's just like how you have a conversation and they giving you good, thoughtful conversation. You're mentally stimulated. It's the same thing with the scalp. You got to give it. You got to pour into it. You got to nurture it. You got to get some action going so your hair can grow.
Wow, that is deep. That is so deep. And so, guys, if you are just tuning in, we are talking to Lakia Diggs, the owner of the Kia Experience. Make sure you are subscribed to our channel. This is such good information. And this is why you do feel better when you leave the hair salon, especially if the person cares about hair and cares about your scalp. Woo, she is teaching us some things. And so I'm going to say this. I'm going to turn my little timer on so I don't spend more than 30 seconds with this, but I'm, actively back coaching and, bringing new clients, and people don't realize how something like childhood trauma could stop you from having the right job, right? So that's not this show, but I'm going to tie it in. And so I was talking to someone about cutting my hair. I told her how damaged my hair was when you cut it. So we took those braids out. I looked crazy, whatever. And I talked about how good it feels to just have my scalp massaged. Now that I have short hair, baby, you can play all up in this hair, okay? In my intimate settings, not if you guys understand what I mean. There is no more fear of having my hair touched. And she shared with me how she's one of, this particular client, she's one of 4 sisters. So she has a bunch of siblings, but 4 sisters, and they would be spanked all the time if they played in each other's hair. And see, there is trauma that comes with many of us Black women over our hair, even from childhood. And so I want to throw that out if anybody's listening, like, yeah, I couldn't touch my hair. If you get your hair done and you have a husband, a wife, a boyfriend, a boo, a girlfriend, or all of the above, and no one can touch your hair, you don't have those moments that have sensuality in that way. you may be doing yourself a disservice. You know, with this particular person, she has a every 2 week ritual on how she gets her hair done. I asked her if she can sacrifice Wednesday and Thursday night, like let your husband play in your hair. You deserve that. It's also confidence boosting, and it'll pull you guys together and as a family, you know. But anyway, I digress, and I did it. Okay, great. So
Well,
with
my mom
that being,
probably gave my sister trauma because, you know, I used to do Renee hair like every, if she would go outside and play and come back, I'd be like, you messed your hair up, sit down. And I would just keep, I would do her hair over.
well, a lot of people. We have another friend named Kia who shared with us. Her mother used to do her hair 4 times a day, and so she now has a bowl cut because of a negative relationship with her hair. Because growing up, she got her hair done 4 times a day. So bringing this in, all of this is to say that there are, again, different strokes for different folks. What is your definition of self-care? And does hair play into self-care for you, your own personal?
Yeah, so self-care is intentionally, this is my definition. Self-care is intentionally romanticizing things that feel good to you without guilt. It's giving time to service yourself in more of a way that you give your spouse, your children, your job, your peers, because you are no good to nobody else if you're not servicing self.
That's excellent. Yeah, that definitely, I like that, you know, not feeling selfish, not feeling, you know, think that those things that you do for yourself that you're not feeling guilty about. I think a lot of times people, you know, look at that. They think about, oh, I don't want to do this. I know there's been plenty of times, like, even if it's treating myself, it's like I would feel bad, especially, you know, when my kids were younger. It's like, oh, every attention, especially women, if you're a husband, I mean, if you're a wife, I was going to say, if you're a wife, even husbands, whoever, you have kids, you have families, you know, sometimes when you have those other responsibilities, you feel guilty almost for doing something for yourself, you know. And so I like, you know, recently in these recent years, people are really putting out there, you know, putting their TikToks and making their posts, self-care day, self-care Saturday, self-care Sundays, because I think we just really got away from that as people, as a community, of not caring for ourselves. When you do self-care, you know, when did it become a focus for you? I know for me, it's been more recent, for me as far as the self-care, but when did it really become a focus for you that, like, hey, I need to incorporate self-care into my life?
Oof. Lord. Oh, okay. So I think the pivotal moment, I'll say, because I always knew I had to do it, but actually doing it with intentions, when I realized how much, I'm sorry, how less I thought for myself. I was giving myself maybe just such a small fragment, thinking about myself and what I needed. And I was thinking way more of others, to a way that it was very unhealthy. You know, when you're in the service industry, that's one thing. When you're a single parent, that's a whole nother thing. You know, when you have family responsibilities, it's a whole nother thing. So when you have all these different roles, you get pushed further back on the burner. You get further back. And we when I realized that I was running on fumes, I mean, forget pouring from an empty cup. It was like even the cup was being chipped away. I was over giving myself away, to the point that there was so much self negligence, and it wasn't intentional negligence, but it was so much negligence that was happening in my social life, in my physical health, um, in my spiritual health, in so many different avenues. I did not nurture myself, and those things are the bare minimum. Making sure your mental health is right. We're not talking about flying to Dubai. The bare minimum is taking care of your physical, mental, and spiritual health. Those are the bare minimum. So when people glorify those things, that is great. But we also have to realize that that's bare minimum. We should have to we should have to look so hard to find time to take care of ourselves. We have to put that up there in a priority. You know what I mean? Like, it has to go up higher without the guilt. Because if we doing those things and still thinking about our kids and husbands, we're not thinking about ourselves no more. We still serving them. We still thinking about them.
Most
You're
certainly. And
not
we
supposed to
gotta
be doing it. You're still
and
not doing it. You sitting in the bathtub with your bath bomb and you still thinking about, dang, like I ain't get the clothes out the dryer. You're still not all the way there. So we
no.
got to think more beyond than the surface level getting a pedicure. It's being fully attentive to yourself and saying with love, F these kids. They gonna be all right there with their father. Or, whatever. Let me service myself. So when I go back into the world being these other roles, I can do it with joy in my spirit because I gave myself the attention that I needed.
Most certainly.
And when it comes,
Unapologetically,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
That,
Unapologetically. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That was a boom for real. I think that you definitely have given people something to think about. And what I'm hearing you say is like, stop glamorizing, even how our moms, grandmoms, great grandmas used to, wear themselves to the bone. And then grandma passed at 54 and Pop 88, he didn't live 20, 30 more years. And he can figure out how to make himself a sandwich now. Look at Jesus, and grandma then gone
exactly.
home to be with the Lord. And so every so many years, decades, there are documentary songs and things like that that come out about Black women, Black hair, that type of thing. In 2006, India Arie had the song "I Am Not My Hair," which we love, and we bootlegged a little bit off of her song today for the show's topic, and we've been playing it all day. In 2009, Chris Rock had that hair documentary. So there's been some attention on hair and Black hair, and Black women's hair specifically. How do you believe the beauty industry shapes self-care?
It's big because as women, our self care looks like looking good and feeling good first. And a lot of us do that before we think about the mental and spiritual health. Not saying that it's okay. It depends on where you are. But we look at that first. Self care. Let me get a pedicure. Let me get a wax. Let me get my hair done. Let me, you know what I'm saying? Let me get my teeth whitened. Whatever that we look at, that's the first thing we think about. Let me take a bath. Let me put some body butter on. It's all of that first. So yes, that is a thought. I think that as blacks, I often think about in the generations before us, even when they had very minimal, they took dignity and pride in having their clothes clean, ironed together. And that was the bare minimum. You ain't about to look like where you came from. You ain't about to look like what you're going through. There was pride in making sure your pants were creased and your shirt was ironed and your dress was, pleated and ironed right and your hair was combed and all that. So I think that when it comes down to us being who we are, even down to as far back as Africa, we took pride in our image, our jewelry, our hair, our clothing. That was a thing that that's always been in us. That's a genetic thing, I think. So that is the first thing we think about, So I think that with the beauty industry, because it's so image focused or surface focused, it's easy for us to buy into that because that's about Ellie. That's why they get to make so much money off of us at the same time.
Facts. That is so true. And I was thinking about what you were saying, like with, hair and those things. To me, and this was one of the questions I thought about, like that stuff is grooming. Like, I mean, for me, it's like, yeah, when I go to salon, when I go, I want to be able to relax, especially like I said, to me, that the best part of that relaxing, especially if I'm coming in from work or a long day, to be at the shampoo bowl, that gives me that 10-15 minutes. I'm just like, like literally I could take a cat nap, and just kind of relax and release from, the day, especially if you're coming from work or something like that. But like you said, to me, that's like basic. It's part of grooming. Like that is in my budget to get my hair, my nails done. It's grooming on my, budget because it's a necessity. Like I gotta have a pedicure. I don't have stinky feet. That don't have nothing to do with self-care to me. That's so my feet don't stink. It's just basic grooming for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, for me, that self-care is, therapy, the trips and stuff like that. Like I feel like you gotta groom yourself. Like that's just That's just number one on the list. It's we're not making a whole self-care day out about making sure your feet and stuff, those things, brushing your teeth and combing your hair. That's you should do that every day before you leave the house. So I don't know. I just wanted Tori, stop laughing so much now. I can't. And my next question. But I won't go in personal why, but certain things are hereditary, so I can't skip getting my pedicures. That's all I'm gonna say.
And she mean on her side of her
my
they're like, but wait,
my
you get
restaurant, so
cousins?
yeah, but no, I'm like, you need pedicures, okay? So I faithfully get mine. All right, so wait a minute. All right, so the next question. She get on my nerves. What products and services do you offer to help people, operate in that spirit of self-care, and to kind of love on themselves? We know you do an amazing job at the shampoo bowl and coloring, and we'll let you tell the rest, but definitely, like, what are those things that you provide so people can be in that lane of self-care?
I honestly feel like all of my services provide that because self-care can look so different to each person. Self-care is the actual style. Self-care for some people is sitting in the bowl and getting that massage. Some self-care is maintenance in their color so their gray is not showing. It's to me it's all of it because their needs can be different according to what they individually require, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely. One of the things that I know we didn't talk about, I think, well, Tori talked about, getting, you also working like with people who have medical conditions concerning their hair, but you also provide services to the deceased and like doing their hair, in that service. So I always thought that was kind of like, how do people do that? Like, how do you do that?
Oh goodness, I got into it because I had a client who she was older, and I've been doing her hair for like 20 years, and she was always like, "You're gonna do my hair when I, pass." And I used to be like, "Lady, I don't want to talk about that. Like, I'm flattered," and I left it at that. Like, I never like thought that I would be doing it, so I was like, "All right, girl, all right, Miss Gertrude, go ahead, all right." So lo and behold, not only did she pass, she had this written down
I
in
I knew you was
her.
gonna say that.
And I was like, she want what? Oh, like I could not. And all I kept thinking about was how she was serious. Like she said it and she was serious. And I felt a healthy obligation to do it because that's what she wanted. That was her wish. And I would not be at peace if I didn't do it. And I didn't feel bad when I did it. So when I did it, I was a little nervous walking into it, but when I got there, I was like, okay. And this may sound really weird, but it was as if she was a clown who fell asleep in my chair. It was like she was asleep. So it was more so like I'll have clients that is on a Zoom call and they can't really engage fully because they on a phone or they watching something on something, or they just may have a day where they just prefer not to engage as much. And that's what it was to me. It was more so of like that. I don't know. Like it was like she was quiet, and because I'm so used to clients that actually prefer that silence, it wasn't nothing abnormal to me. It really wasn't. And because she was someone I knew, I was comfortable. And the biggest thing of it all is when I do the deceased, it is like I take pride in all the hair that I do. But when you do the deceased, it's a big deal because you are responsible for the last time that family sees them. And that memory carries on for the rest of their lives when they think about their loved one is the last time they seen them. So I take that much more pride in knowing that that's a big responsibility. So when I go, I show up, I'm immaculately dressed. I don't play around with that because that's a big deal. That's a big responsibility. And I take that very seriously. So it go as far as when I communicate with the person who books me, send me, even if I don't know that person that well or know them in a way that they want to remember her in or him in, I asked to see photos of her being at her prime or being at a point where she was healthiest so I can emulate the style, and even down to like doing the deceased. I also do makeup and nails for the deceased. I won't really do it on regular people. I do enough so they still look lifelike, and that's the bare minimum. So I do touches with makeup and nails just so they won't have the graying of the nails and the grain of the skin. You know what I'm saying? So I do enough to give them a flesh type appearance where it looks like they're asleep or they look like the way that makes them comforted. So that's a big deal for me. So that's how I got into it, and that's how I was able to get through it, and that's how I continue to get through it. It's thinking like that.
I love it. I want to go with you one day and assist. Like I just would like to watch it. I have a morbid curiosity, but I think it's just huge because you are the most humble celebrity hairstylist I've ever met.
Oh,
Multifaceted. So from Vogue, Italy, to I'm gonna do my deceased clients' hair, and then I'm gonna also garner the skills to continue to offer this service to other people. I'm gonna go ahead and let you know I'm writing my will, and I'm always redoing my obituary. So let me go ahead and write mine in here now.
Right. Look, I was like, why was I thinking that? I was like, that is a good idea
You
to
need to
write it in there. Right.
here. Sign us up for the ultimate
listen.
final experience. That's what it will call. That's what
Look, Tori, don't
I
forget,
did
and then
not.
she teach other stylists, like, so people just understand and just, like multifaceted. I think honestly, one of the few women outside of, my previous stylist, so Lavonda, like did all of that. Like you are the first person that I've met, kind of like in this generation that embodies like everything, and who Lavonda was as a stylist, teaching people everything. She was at the schools and just was able to do it all, so yeah, definitely.
And I'm gonna throw a disclaimer out there. This is no shade to my other hairstylist booze. Y'all know I love y'all. And I normally, whenever I tag one, I tag all four of y'all because I am what's they call an equal opportunity lover.
Yeah.
But I believe to give people their kudos and their credit when kudos and credit are due. And Lakia Diggs, you getting the kudos and the credit, hunty.
Yeah.
So thank you.
You're welcome. Let me ask you something, and we're going to jump into Key's key questions. So much. I have like 17 questions, so I'm trying to stick to the script. Like, okay, what's my last question? All right. You do so much. You touch so many. You do stuff for people have no idea that you do for. You do stuff from the heart. You do stuff from the brain. It's a lot. What advice would you give someone wanting to pursue a career in your industry?
People glorify me, and I'm humbled and grateful that I do different things, but that's not always good, only because at some point you need to niche, at a certain degree. And when you come out of school, they tell you, like, because I have a cosmetology license, so that covers hair, skin, and nails. So I can do hair, I can do makeup, skin care, waxing, and I can do nails. I learned all those things, but I wanted to focus on hair. But because you focus on hair, they feel like you got to also know how to braid, you got to do locks, you got to color, you got to do, and they try to make you feel like you got to do all these things. But most of those people are never great at certain things because they're trying to spread their knowledge and skill set all over. So they don't have a thing that they're actually the bomb in. Most of the most successful stylists, whether you're looking on social media or what, they focus on one particular type or genre of hair, whether it's a loctician, whether it's a wig maker or someone that does lace weaves. They focus on something and they give their attention to that one type, and they are excelling because they found something that they love and they continue to perfect that thing. So I tell people, don't be afraid. If you feel like you want to focus on one thing, that is okay. And don't allow people to make you feel guilty for not doing what they want you to do. Because it is certain services that you may not enjoy doing. Like, for instance, I actually took off some of my services earlier this year because I either do not enjoy them or I do not want to attract more clients for that particular service. And I'm okay with the core group that I have with that service. And that makes you so much happier. You don't want to have to loathe a client that's getting the service because you don't enjoy doing it. Because guess what? It's going to show. The person going to feel the energy. You don't want to have to loathe doing a particular service. Why? Because you're trying to get it done. You're not going to put your best effort in it all the time. And that's a disservice. So I feel like do not be afraid to say, I want to focus on natural hair only. If that's your jam and you are the SHIT in it, then do it because you'll be your best self professionally doing that. It's okay.
That's why this is the connected corner where you get news and resources you can actually use, honey, because that advice is translatable across any field. Find the thing that you like to do, that you are good in it. Like Lakia said, if it's your jam and you're the sugar honey iced tea in it, don't let anybody guilt you into spreading yourself too thin. I love it. Kia, I have people who call me all the time. Why don't you do resumes? Because I don't. Do you know how much you would be making doing resumes? $0, 0 cents, because I don't like to do them. And I'm going to tell you, if I have a client who absolutely, I have to do a resume, it starts at $500 because I understand the effort, the time, the quality. I'm not a resume writer. I'm not. I can, but I loathe doing resumes. I would rather be a connector and connect you to a resume specialist. And I keep those people in my pocket, in my network, so that if all you need is a resume, and guess what? She might be starting at $150. You wanted me to do it so badly, you gonna pay me $500 to do something that I hate doing. Now I'll review your portfolio, give you creative advice all day, but I don't want to do it. And so I love what you said because that is translatable advice across any board. Kiana, I'm sure. Kiana was shaking her head to the point her thing almost fell off. Her neck almost fell off. because she's
I was
right with every client not being your client. Every opportunity is not, you don't have to jump at it.
Yeah.
Ooh, girl,
and that's what actually, what kids say. And so that also goes to like just who you are professionally. My mentor of, I don't know, since I was a junior in college, it always told me that, coming out, because people do business, right? Or you get an MBA, that's a mosh pot. Like, okay, what do you specialize in? Right. So my specialty was accounting. And then even in that, people don't realize all people know is CPA. You could be a certified management accountant. There's all kind. And so part of it was, he used to always tell me, you don't have to do everything. You just have to then, like, Tori and I teach our people how to have strategic partnerships. My business grows the way that it does because I have strategic partnerships. I have somebody to do the bookkeeping. I have CPAs around me. That wasn't something I felt like putting the time in to do, because I didn't want to do public accounting. And so that is so important for people to make sure that, you find your niche in whatever that is specifically here in the hair industry. So that is really good because I've seen a lot of young people come out, they take cosmetology in school and, they go through all of that and then they struggle, to try to find their place in that industry. And so, one, you got to have some hustle and you got to have vision, and goals, and you can't just be all over the place or, you're going to struggle trying to make it and have a certain success there. So that's good advice. So make sure y'all wrote that down. Y'all got y'all, young people, they right now at Cobb or Merva, wherever they are, taking cosmetology, rewind this back, tell them to listen to it and just, get that information because it's important. So beyond the self-care tips, y'all got some career tips here tonight for going into the industry. So we're going to spend the last couple minutes, and it is just the right amount of time because this is only a 2-minute segment. So we have key questions. I'll ask you 3 questions and you'll have 2 minutes to answer the 3 questions. Look at your face. She's like, all right, let me think about this. They're not hard. They're fun. And so I would start the timer after I read the first question. And so for our audience, whether you're watching now live or on the replay, drop your answers to the questions as well. We're going to put them in the comments. Okay, so we want to hear from you as well. All right, so I'm going to start with the first question. The first question is, if you could have a billboard with anything on it, what would it be and why? If you could have a billboard with anything on it, what would it be and why?
It would say, Beyonce, let me do your hair.
I love it. it. I love it. Look, we know why, right? Yes, we got that. Look, that's self-explanatory for the why.
Okay.
Okay. All right. The second question, how do you deal with burnout or feeling unmotivated?
Oh goodness. Take a walk.
Yeah.
Just take a walk.
Mhm.
You know, I just take a walk, get some clarity first, just smell some air, just look at the landscape and look at, buildings, just kind of just focusing on centering myself so I can get some clarity. For me, that's how I do things. I'll just take a walk and it could be a path I never took.
I like that. And then the last question, going right back to our topic in this series, what do you do for self-care?
Sit down and I'll either read, mostly reading. I look at travel destinations just to kind of, inspire me to want to do something else. I just kind of get myself out of the place that I'm in, whether it's reading a book, listening to some music, looking up travel destinations, just giving myself that sense of being somewhere else outside of where I am.
I love it. Look at that. She got like 30 seconds left. Good job. Okay. Yeah.
Well, wait, let's use those 30 seconds. You're a plant mom, right? Tell us.
Yes.
Right, plant mom. What is your all-time favorite plant to have and a plant you ain't really banging with? Like, he all right, but I ain't really banging with. I know the second answer.
My favorite plant is a Monstera Peru. That's my favorite plant. And my least favorite plant is a peace lily.
Oh, you got me. I thought you were going to say the croton. I remember we had a conversation about crotons.
I don't like crotons, yeah, but I got a peace lily recently, and I never wanted one, and I was talking to getting one. I was like, all right, as soon as I put it up, I instantly despised it. I can't stand it. So I probably hate peace lilies more than
you said they not bringing so much peace, like.
No, I don't. They don't do it for me at all.
Well, I'll be back home in less than 2 weeks, so hold her for me because I didn't get a lily this year, and I normally get a lily every year, but I didn't get a lily this year. But anywho, we are just so blessed to have had you on the show, Kiana. I think you were about to say something. Did I cut you off because I got excited about the plants?
Oh, I don't know, girl. I've just been excited.
We just excited. Okay, tell the people, how can we find you? Please share your Instagram handle, email address, any kind of connecting information you would like the people to have. How can we find you?
Sure. So my Instagram is Lakia Diggs _ That's my Instagram. My website is thekiaexperience.com. And my Facebook page, my professional page is the Kia Experience LLC. And that's pretty much the most of what I use.
I love it. And we're going to drop it everywhere. If it'll be posted. Y'all can't have my appointment times or Kiana's appointment time, but y'all can get in when you can get in. Right. And look, I don't know if you saw, I rescheduled my appointment from that Friday to Thursday. Okay, good. I just want to make sure.
I saw it.
I was like, oh wait, this is the wrong day. Let me move it back a day. So I just love you. We thank God for you. We are excited that you were able to come on. Tons of good information you gave us. So thank you for that. Guys, to connect with me, my name is Tori Rose. I'm the connector on Instagram and Twitter and LinkedIn. I think it's Tori Rose or Tori Rose the Connector. Just Google it. If you can't find it, I'm out there. If you are interested in coming to our career and confidence workshop on June 11th, please go to Instagram or Facebook. There it's posted. It's on Eventbrite. If you type in career and confidence Baltimore, it'll come up. It is June 11th from 9 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Lunch will be provided, and you are going to get a wealth of good information, wealth of knowledge. It's going to help you pivot, regardless if you're in a job that you like or a career that you like, but you know that you could be doing better. This is the place that you want to be on Saturday, June 11th from 9 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. So get your tickets because spaces are limited. And anyone who comes to the workshop will get a free consultation with me 30 days after they attended, because I'm going to hold you accountable. I need to see if you're applying the things that you learned in that workshop. So I'm Tori Rose. And Kiana, how can we find you?
You can find me on all social media as Kiana B. Jones. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Is tax season over? Give us a tax tip. Is everybody done?
No, I'm not. I'm not done completely. So for people who file extensions, you have until October the 15th to file your extensions. A lot of people always says, "Oh, I'm late," or "I can't file." People don't even know about extensions. I mean, of course, you needed to file it before the deadline, but hey, if you want to try, you can go ahead file you one. But you have until October 15th to file if you filed an extension. And I would say, so I have people coming now who didn't file 2020 and 2021. Those people, if you have back years, please do your professional accountants and tax preparers a favor and go to them now. Do not go to tax professionals and accountants during the heart of individual, and I'll say individual tax season because y'all know it's more than one for those who have corporations and so forth and 990s and all these other things. But go before the tax season starts because it is hard to try to do 2, 3, 4 back years for people during the tax season. So that's, one tip. Hey, take care of those back years. Get yourself caught up before 2022 returns are due. Also, we're coming up. It's May, June. I always tell people during my clients at that 6-month period, look at your year to date on everything. Make sure that you have the right amount of taxes coming out. Don't wait till December to look at it and then expect your people to do a miracle. You can look at your pay stubs. I know people get direct deposit now. You never look at your pay stub. Please look at your pay stub. You should look at it every quarter, but definitely every June to see how much taxes are coming out and see if you're on point to have enough taxes withdrawn or withheld from your paychecks.
I love it. We are boss babes and we are booked and busy. Thank you again, Lakia, for your time. This is the Connected Corner, guys. Please make sure you are with us next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as we continue to talk about self-care. You're not being selfish. It's a type of healthcare. We love you guys and we are so appreciative that you tuned in. Thank you. Have a good night.
Peace. Good night. See you next week.
See you next week.